So, welcome everybody to another episode of The Council. Today we have joining us Sanjita, Tassanex, and Van Seal. Calvin will no longer be available for these, unfortunately. So we're looking for a fifth member long term. We'll see how that works out. We'll have some guests over the next few months. But let's go ahead and get started. Maybe you guys want to go around, introduce yourselves a little bit for those who have not seen or heard you in the past. Van Seal, you want to start?
Yep. So I'm Van Seal. I stream on YouTube and Twitch. I kind of took a little hiatus for last month. And my focus is territory wars, and bounty hunters, and just kind of like a bunch of off-meta random stuff. So I typically try to go the route less taken, I guess, in this game.
No GAC Omis looking right at you, huh?
Maybe. We'll talk about that later. Maybe.
All right, Tass, how about you?
Yeah, heyo. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tassinix. I make content on YouTube, Tassinix Gaming, and I'm almost always inside the top 100 of Kyber 1, trying to, finish a season at number 1. That's the goal. That's the end goal.
Awesome. That's going to be a challenge with all those squished players.
Until they get the Erodiums out, it's a pipe dream. It's a complete pipe dream.
I actually got my first one this last season.
Hey!
All the way at the bottom of K1 somehow. And I'm like, huh?
Oh, one of the early ones that was first squished up there, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait,
All right.
I cut out for a second. You got your first what?
A Rhodium player in Kyber 1.
Oh, nice. Congrats. I still haven't had one.
Just luck of the draw, I guess.
Your time will come. God knows there's enough of them.
I hope not. That would be a terrible video.
Yeah.
Just be a wash.
Not
Makes
good
for
for content creation.
Yeah.
All right, Sanjita, how about yourself? Where can people find you?
Sanjita, just YouTube, SONGTA. Been doing a lot of early game stuff, and other than that, my big focus is Grand Arena. I aim to one day end within 50 to 100 places of Tassanex. I have at some point, but I don't have the same aspirations as him, is what I'm saying.
All right, and I'm Ken. You can find me on this podcast or Grand Arena Science Discord or grandarenascience.com. Let's go ahead and get started for the first broad discussion point. How did your guys' season go? Maybe Sanjita, you can start us off. What happened last season? Fun, weird, strange, exciting, etc.
It was kind of weird. Like it felt bad. I ended up 6-3 though, so statistically it wasn't bad. I just got totally muscled out at the beginning because I don't have Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and then cause it was the first time in a while there's been two like major kind of gated teams I didn't have.
Yeah.
The Qui-Gon Obi-Wan with Queen Amidala. I have Queen Amidala, but I didn't have the other two. And then Jar Jar. I'm ready for Jar Jar now, but it's like still gonna be a few more weeks. So, and I wasn't ready for how dominant Jar Jar was going to be with Gungans. Because 3v3, I was fine. Like, I ran into him almost every match. And then 5v5, it was just totally... It was, like, demoralizing. Like, one time, one of the few times I just one-shot it, I think I used Bane and then C as the lifter for Bane. But I just had such a problem with that. After the first week, the second bracket, there was more people that had Jar Jar, but I only faced, like, once. And then my last bracket, I didn't face anyone that had Jar Jar. They had Gungans, but not Jar Jar. So it was a lot easier by the end. So I front loaded my losses. I was 1-2 first week, and then I only lost one the last two rounds. So it kind of solved that problem by losing my way out of it, which isn't always the best solution, but it does work.
It's definitely a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, the way the skill squish works, you gain or lose more points in the first week than the last weeks. So if you're just trying to maximize wins, it's better to lose early and win late. So that wasn't intentional though. I just got clocked. But yeah, I hope to do better. I just want to have answers for Jar Jar and Padme next season. We're not gonna have the Bane Datacrons, that's something, but we're gonna have Datacrons that apply to everybody. So That'll be interesting. I'll have Jar Jar by next 5v5. I guess maybe I'll have him for a week of this 3v3, or maybe not.
I think
Depends.
he
He's
comes
coming back
out. I
August
think he
5th,
comes back
right?
like the last week.
Yeah. I think you can get him for the last week, but you have to do it in like 2 days or something.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, hopefully I'll just have him for 1 week of 3v3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
What
was
did you
fun.
guys?
Kind of reminded. Huh?
No, go ahead.
It was kind of reminding me of like when I didn't have Lord Vader during the Lord Vader Cron set 4.
Mm.
Or maybe I did have him, but I didn't have an answer. There was something. It was a really bad season back then. It reminded me of it, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I was curious what other people used on the Gungans because that was stats wise, they were an amazing team, especially with the NAS DC. So it was either I ended up using Leia on all of mine. I had one fail during a full R9 team with the NAS DC, but everything else was a win. But stats wise, that was not a really great success. I think Leia was 70 or 80 or something like that. So I'm just curious what other people ended up using.
Well, which composition of Leia did you go with?
Old Ben and Mon Mothma.
Okay, I'd heard about that. Set 15 light side bulk you ran?
Yeah, there wasn't much bulk. I just gave either I'd
The light
give.
side level 3, I mean, the bulk level.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I ran a variety of Leia comps last season, and without exception, Gungans was like the most difficult team, right? Especially in Kyber 1, like there's a big fork that people were setting up with like Queen Amidala, Gungans, and I think maybe Slacker or something that was going to draw one of your better options anyway to deal with it. And then there would be a surprise JMK in the back.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
and so my losses. I mean, I don't want to cut off some Sanjita's time, but yeah, I mean, like my losses this season were almost exclusively because of what it cost me to get through Gungans, and then what I had to do to get through from there.
You have your co-host right there.
Little scene invader.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I don't know. I found Queen after the first week. Well, maybe this is not necessarily the stats didn't look like a lot of people were doing it, but you could gas every Queen comp for like 80+% success rate. There was a couple little tweaks you had to make, like saving your form up and making sure to go for POW first. But in general, it was such an easy win. Like it was a gimme in my experience.
Depends on how you mean gimme, because I know that like people were experimenting with gas a lot in week 2, and in week 3, basically everybody had figured out that you can greatly impede gas by throwing GK into the comp. It doesn't wholesale block it, but it makes it rougher. It makes like and when you say that it was kind of like smooth for you, what does smooth mean? Because I feel like your best case scenario is something like a 57, and if there was a GK in there, you could struggle bust it out for something like a 54.
So smooth 57.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you
but
could
that's
get it
actually
done, and it was still a value
Clean
buy. I'll cop to all of
55.
that. But still.
yeah. So you're right. By smooth, I mean I didn't feel like I had a chance of losing. The banners were terrible.
Okay,
That
meets
was my smooth.
expectations. Same.
Yeah. But just trading gas for Queen was a huge.
Yeah, that's great value. Was it the crit immunity from GK that mainly caused issues?
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
that would be your biggest issue. And I know you said a second ago, Sanjita, it's like you wanted to go after POW first. My experience was to go after because a lot of
say
folks had
that?
the
I
damage.
said that. We look very similar.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you know what? Just gaff. Just a gaff. Yeah, my bad. No, you were just talking, so your name's top of mind. But anyway, I was fighting mostly the damage reduction level 6 Galactic Republic. So I was chasing whoever just had, under 50% turn meter or whatever.
Fair enough. Yeah, actually,
Sometimes
I
it
think
was Master
only
Qui-Gon who went. Sometimes it was POW.
I did only face damage reduction once. Everything else was the disruption. So, yeah, I'm sure that played a big role in it too. How else did your season go, Tass?
Yeah, I went 6-3. A couple dum-dums along the way, but for the most part, the L's were attributable to Gungans. Yeah, and dum-dums, but mostly Gungans, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Otherwise, really fun season. I only think I had 1 or 2 Erodiums the whole time, so a lot of
That's
real
nice.
matches. Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Venciel?
I kind of wanted a do-over. I had like half a season. The first 5 battles, I was sick, and I mean, I was like sick, where I was in the hospital for a few days. Nothing serious. It was
Oh my
just kinda,
gosh.
It was just kind of like
Yeah.
I just need stronger meds and some IV bags, and I'm good. So I was just like, there's some GACs where I was doing my battles in the last like 20 minutes. It's like, oh, I don't even know what day it is, what time it is. So I just did not care first half of it. Trying to think of anything notable. I loved my defense though. My defense was disgusting this season. I had a lot of fun seeing all the holds I was getting. One team I struggled with a lot on offense, and it took me till the last week to figure out a weird counter for it. Was Riva. Riva was giving me problems on defense. As someone that doesn't have the Treya Omi or everything's on defense, I was like, how the hell do I fight this team? I actually ended up using bounty hunters, and it was one of the funniest counters. I didn't stream
Bam,
everything.
or-
Yeah, Bam in there. So give DI to Bam with Deathmark, and I'm like, all right, you guys hit him and tire yourself out in about 4 minutes, and then Mando can go in and start popping people. With Fennec and Sign of Django, they can ignore taunt. So it's just like, oh, okay, I didn't realize this still works. But that was a fun one. And of course,
That's
using
cool.
Tuskens against like Stap, it's always fun.
Oh yeah. Did
Yeah.
do you not have Phoenix up to snuff for,
I have
for you
no,
to get treated?
I have Krex with Leia to prevent the Stap counter. So it's
Mm.
like,
When you say
Was
prevent
Phoenix reliable on them this season?
Yeah.
with PBA, yes, like 100%,
Or like-
because of how the order of operations goes. I think it was Zareth who found that at some point in the last, or at least reminded us of it at some
Mhm.
point in the last season. But the way it works is that the 6 stacks of purge that it's like the 1 goes out, then GBA summons Brute.
Uh-huh.
Then the 5 go out.
Right, because he only gets
Thus,
5.
Brute
Yeah.
only has
Yes,
5.
he only gets 5.
Thus, when Grand Inquisitor does torture, they're not getting tenacity.
Ah, okay, I see.
No.
That's interesting.
And
to
so
know.
that's why
Okay.
all of your Phoenix
Does that-
related, gimmicks work.
That's
Does
interesting.
that matter that much? Because they still get tenacity down anyway once Craig starts going.
But yeah, if with
I
tenacity
thought-
down and tenacity up, they balance off, so you're going
They
off of
cancel
whatever they're.
out.
So
Yeah.
where's your AoE? You have tenacity. Yeah. You do have tenacity down, but that's the point. Is like you just said, they cancel
They
out. I
balance
don't
out,
want
yeah.
that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to be advantaged, and you are just with GBA.
Yeah.
Like, and people tested it. It was winnable. Like if you took a 5th Phoenix character, but less banners, less reliable. So GBA was the way to go.
The thing, I mean, I stopped doing it during Doubt, so it's been months since I did it, but the thing was always you just need a pre-taunt to eat the torture, because you'd win as long as they didn't target Krex with it, like, because I call it Russian roulette, because if they like hit Krex with torture, you die.
Mhm.
But anyone else, you just live, so it's just like leave out Kanan and put in a pre-taunt. But I think I looked up the stats and it was still like 60-70% like that, so I didn't
That's what I changed for the
necessarily
bounty
feel
hunter team,
super safe.
because I think Fennec's
Yeah.
considered a high priority target. Like they changed her like a couple of years back. So like Lord Vader will go for her a lot, like do the bounty hunter comp against Lord Vader.
Yeah, I
But
hate when they do that.
so basically I was like, all right, well I need Mando, I need Grief, I need Bam. I'm like, okay, I'll just drop Sign of Django and put in like L3 as a pre-taunt, and then it was like super clean at that point.
That's
It
nice.
just takes
targeting. The targeting priority is interesting because I had all these people telling me like what to use in a JMK mirror if your cat's slower. Like put in Thrawn, put in GMY, put in Malak because they're all higher priorities. So like the stats would show people would just bring in Thrawn in those mirrors just to eat the force leap, and then they win like that. But it's so weird. Like I don't know, it just seems so such a brutish way to code this. Like, oh, this guy. Like, they just have like like, do they just have a list
They
they
do.
put in the
They-
code?
They do
Like,
have a
yeah,
list, yeah.
rank
They-
1 through 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
they're characters
definitely-
that are specifically marked as priority targets. Yeah.
And they tweak them also because the first
And they
2
don't
weeks,
tell anyone.
They don't. The first 2 weeks after the set 14 came out, set 15 came out. Yeah, with the Galactic Republic to make Cat be able to leap anybody. The first 2 weeks, Cat was the priority target. So whichever cat went first, they would always leap the other cat every single time without fail. And then they change it to go after JMK or JKA, or it was random. But this was just within 2 weeks because it was, I'm guessing, just because they saw it was just a speed race with Cat and there was no RNG, so easy to sort of manipulate. But
They might
definitely
have
watch it.
changed Bane in there too, because like I brought Bane Malik one time because I was like, oh yeah, Malik's a high priority target. They'll target him, but they didn't. I still won because I just managed the cooldowns, but they just only went after Bane. They just ignored Malik completely.
This is what
So I don't know if
makes me
that might have been a recent change too.
This is what makes me want to take my Talon to Relic 9 eventually.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, why?
Talon's an
Because
amazing
they can-
character.
Because you can go ahead and try and
Yeah.
my Bane.
You feed turn meter
and
to the
then
whole
Bane-
team.
Yeah.
and then
Does it
Bane,
does it
Bane-
save him from being defeated?
I think
or
it does.
It
just-
does.
Yes.
Yep.
It
It
does.
does.
Even
So-
instant defeat?
Instant
Yeah,
defeat.
as long as it's not permakill. I don't think it requires. It says when he would be defeated. It's not like the thing you're thinking about, where it's like,
Okay.
oh, I thought it was.
It's not
I thought
Jabba
like
or
that,
something.
too.
Okay.
You're thinking he has to be brought under like 1% health or
Yeah.
something. But I
Yeah,
think I
'cause
checked
I
it a
guess-
while back and saw it's about if he's to be defeated. So instant defeat
Yeah.
fits in the set.
Yeah, so I think the analogy I'm using in my head is Revan's Savior. So I think you can insta kill through that, but
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's an argument for talent. I probably wouldn't
Yeah, it's
do
more
that,
similar
but-
like five
It's real
sacrifice. Like
stretch
if you use
yeah.
an instant defeat with fives around, like that character just takes it and then fives falls over.
Yeah. That would be an interesting. I put one together, I think, like a year and a half ago of how all the instant defeat interacts. But since a year and a half ago and now there's like, what, 30 more potential
Feels like it,
interactions?
right? And it feels like there's always one they throw in with every Datacron set now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, talking about Datacron sets, what do you guys think about set 16?
Love it.
This is, in my
I like it
perspective,
too.
this is the first set they've ever done where it is impossible to get it all.
Yep.
Like, there's too many level 9s, and you could take a Datacron and apply it to virtually, like, every team is going to have either a tank or a support or a healer or an attacker. Like, every team is going to have at least one. I mean, obviously, at least
Yep.
one of those.
hmm
It's
So
great.
it's-
It's beautiful.
Crazy the amount of theory crafting that can be done.
Let's talk in terms of like, so obviously each role has the best one in it, like the one they made like the
The
longest,
paragraph,
or like
yeah, the
the
paragraph.
new
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So let's like try to talk about each role. Like, what are some teams you think will be the best with like the attacker thing, where it's the true damage and the attack again? I was just thinking, CLS has kind of waned recently, but I feel like they could have a pretty good role on offense.
There,
Mhm.
I don't want to say the boring generic answer by saying there's no right answer in this, but like,
It depends on who you're fighting, in
yeah,
my mind, or who you're trying to stop, sort of. Like, it is so
Oh, and
rock,
also
paper,
they're
scissors.
like that team is pretty much all attackers. Is another reason
Yeah.
I was thinking about it.
Hmm,
yeah.
True.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean
and
that's gonna be a pain. I mean, I think I fought one CLS last season. Just there was like one just randomly on defense, and I forgot how much of a pain he is to fight with bulk. I was like, oh my god, can these Wookiees just die, please? Like, please just die. Stop recovering. Like 3% health recovery has a lot more weight with bulk to it.
Well, we'll think about
Yeah.
one of the set 16s with the attacker level 6. I
Yeah.
forget what the attacker level 9s are, to be honest. And, 250 defense.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The one I got
That's
rolled,
crazy.
I just can't get the level 6. I think I rolled my level 6 11 times, and I'm like, just give me the one I want, please. Is Sabine's. I got the rest of it locked in. Because when
yeah.
Fives comes back around, Sabine is going to go with Ray.
Yeah.
Kind of like how
Ray?
Dash was with Ray. Yeah, because she takes all these extra turns, and Ray's constantly going to be going into ult
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah,
That's quite clever.
That sounds cool.
makes some sense.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that one. That's a good one.
Stagger City.
Yeah. It's funny. I haven't re-rolled a
And Armor
single
Shred.
Datacron yet.
Yeah, you have
think
to.
I'm
It's like you
waiting
have to
until,
get you have to get the 9 you want, and then you re-roll backwards because
Yeah.
right now we don't have any MK3 mats to re-roll. But I do like and I do really appreciate that CG discounted the level 6. I think that's huge.
Oh yeah, that's
amazing.
awesome.
So
And
huge.
it caps
Well,
at 40.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a push pull, right? So my overall impression of set 16 is I'm cool with it. Like I'm entirely supportive just because of how different it is.
Yes.
Like compared to all previous sets. So I like them thinking creatively. I like them not allowing the concept of how Datacrons work themselves to get super stale. So fully supportive of that. But like I and everybody that asks me, I tell them like, spend this first week of Conquest, get to the end of Sector 4, and then you're bouncing Sector 1, Sector 4, and you are trying to take every cron that you get. So only roll enough to have just a few crons. So you don't want to have like a ton of crons to go through, because you should be taking each cron you get to level 9, just straight away.
Yep.
Straight away. All of them. Each one.
And then you should...
As opposed to virtually every other set where you're trying to go wide in that first week. Have a whole bunch of 3s and 6s, maybe a couple 9s, the spiciest ones. But they opened up what you said, Van Seal. They cheapened that cost on the level 6, but they also decoupled alignment level 3 from the level 9.
Yeah.
So you
That
have
is
new
the tricky part.
combinations.
Yeah, that is the tricky
You
part.
have new combinations.
Yeah, I
which
have
is
a
cool.
light side Wampa.
Yeah, exactly. You have new combinations that are possible that are cool. Some of them are useless. Some of them are interesting. But what it overall means is they gave you more options with this set, but lower probability of getting
absolutely.
any one thing that you're actually going for.
Yep.
So you're better off just taking what you get, getting it to level 9, and then adjusting from there based on what it showed itself to be.
Yeah,
You know?
that's my only gripe with this set, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but they messed up with the light and dark side logos. So I was super confused at first. I
Yeah.
was like, wait, I thought I was
Yeah.
rolling a dark side cron. I'm like, oh, they're just being stupid.
Yeah.
And they never even said
Yeah.
anything about it in the forums either. So I'm like, okay, whatever. My only complaint, and like I said, I love this set because the versatility, it's different. The options I think is fun. I think you're gonna see so many different things in GEC now. Like just there's not. I mean, there's always gonna be the meta, of course, but it's going to be a lot harder, like you said, Tasnex. The probability of everyone having that now is going to be a lot less. But my biggest gripe is how hard it is to get to level 91, because I have right now like 2 cup level 9s, and I'm like, they're the bad ones, and I don't even have cup either. But it's like I that was one of the switches they did to Datacrons like a year ago that I liked, was they introduced more characters to level 9, but every character had like 1 level 9. Because I don't know if you guys remember when Datacrons first came out, characters had multiple, like sometimes 2 or 3 level 9s, and you were just like it's really frustrating to get the one you want. And so now we're
you still have that now. Now you have
now
level 9 characters with multiple.
Now we're
Yeah,
we're
you do
back to
now.
that. Yeah, now we're back to
Yeah.
that. So it's like
Just is the first time in forever.
yeah. So your reroll probability really is a lot, because what before it was like, oh yeah, I'd have like a 30 to 40% chance to get the one I want on a reroll, sometimes even 50%. Now it's like, no, you're down to like 20% to get the one you want now.
Up until this point,
I don't care too much, honestly, about the level 9, which level 9 it is, though. But like you said, Sabine is like up there.
Some of them
You
are
know,
just
Wampa would
some
be
of them
nice.
are crazy good though. Some right now are this like, and the thing is, because they're so hard to get, having one puts you at such a big advantage as opposed to someone that doesn't have it. That's
While I I really don't like that added chance if you're looking for something in particular. The fact that there are so many potential options, I do like that. I will actually look at people's Datacrons now at the beginning of a match just to see if they have any of the really good ones, because it's not going to matter. I mean, yes, I'm sure 5 or 10 players will re-roll 97 times to get exactly the one they want on all their Datacrons, but the vast majority of all players will not be guaranteed to have the JMK Datacron, the Bane Datacron, the whatever, 5 or 10 that
Yeah.
most players usually have. That part I think is awesome.
Yes.
Like there's some element
Yeah.
of playing the, I don't know,
well,
the opponent a bit more.
and I don't want to say like I love the chaos of it, but I love the chaos of it because I feel like for the last year,
course you
all
do.
of these sets have been like they've been so easy to get Datacrons. They've been so easy to get these perfect crons.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I got the level 3, the 6, and the 9 that my guild told me to get. I got the
Yeah.
stats for level 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 6, or whatever it is. I got those stats ready. Like I got the 200% defense, the 150% armament. Now it's like, let's see what you can do with what you got. You got to make the best out of like whatever you have now, and I think that's what I really like because now I feel like we're gonna start to see a lot of players, like I don't want to say like the true colors or anything like that, but like we get to see people work with just random situations because now you don't know what your opponent's gonna have either, and you really gotta. I mean, you're gonna have to take it one battle at a time. Personally, I really don't think there's gonna be.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
that.
think through it.
Yeah.
When you put it that way, a couple things occurred to me. First, like both you and Kin basically hit on the same point that like it's going to be hard enough to go for the 369s you want. This is the first set where it's like abandon all hope to get the optimized stats that you were going for. You're going to have enough struggle just getting the 369 you wanted. But then
I think it's better for stats because they're cheaper rerolls on the 4 and 5. So that part.
But you're going to be burning those
like they have a million.
reroll. You're going to be burning the cheaper rerolls just trying to get your 369.
Yeah.
But it caps at 40. Like I don't care. Like I don't think
For
you should care about
free?
the 3 or the 9.
He's saying for the MK2s. He's saying when you reroll your stats at level
Yeah, for
4.
the
Oh, I
It's
see.
five
level
and six.
6.
The
They
5 and
don't
6
max.
stats.
That's good. I didn't know that. That's good knowledge.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never have to spend 80.
Okay.
They cap
that's
at
good.
40.
Well,
Yeah.
but the other thing that occurred to me based on what you were just saying, Venciel, is this basically what you were saying about how this is going to affect how players are going to be playing with this set is it's kind of a nerf, really, like to Datacrons in that sense. Like you're not going to have the very best Datacrons or whatever you've been accustomed to preparing and having ready. So it's almost like it's a shift back toward what is your actual roster? Have you been working on mods, all this time,
Yep.
or have you been just riding that gravy train? Like it's all good, man. I'm just going to go ham on every Datacron set, and I'm just going to come in and blow everybody out with that off rip.
Yeah, because before everyone's had the same teams, generally the same crowns, or at least the same level 3, 6, and 9s. Now, if you don't have that right 3, 6, and 9, you can't run that same team on defense or offense. You're gonna have to do. You're literally forced to do something else as opposed to your opponent.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
From a balance perspective for GAC, I think this is one of the coolest things they've done recently. If you consider mods, characters, ships, whatever, Datacrons, this is putting a lot more of the like playing your opponent rather than following the TW instructions for most fights. I'm of course
because it's always been crons, your Datacrons versus their Datacrons, and now it's like that equation's kind of gone now at this point. It really is going to be kind of a toss up in my opinion. But and you guys know how much I love Yak, and I mean I don't, but I love this change. I love this Datacron set. I think this is really, really cool. And when it comes to TW, man, I don't know how you're going to manage to get 50 people with the same crons. I really don't. It's going to be tough. It really is. But
yeah, it's funny. Like on a from a playing perspective, I'm actually pretty excited to play TW just to fight the battles, because it's going to be more, well, every guild is different, right? But it's going to be more about like choosing the Datacron that fits best, given whatever guidelines your guild gives you or whatever strategy they use or something like that. But I don't know, it's fun. TW is, I've said it many times before, not my favorite game mode just because I have very little agency in that game mode, but I feel that now I'll have a bit more with all the different varieties. Like it's impossible to control for it for all guilds except, maybe Maw or something like that.
Well, the best technique of getting the right 369s for whatever you want, TW, for Yak, for anything, is really just to take every cron up to 9 and see what you get, and see how little you actually have to re-roll to pursue. Because I mean, just take another cron up. Like it'll just be, if you got the right 3 but not the right 6/9, like if you're missing 2 out of 3, don't worry about it. Maybe you can turn it into something else later. Go work on another cron. You'll probably get 2 out of the 3 between 369 out of something and save a whole lot of material, because that's a money pit that a lot of people could get stuck on in for this set.
And in a way, actually,
Yeah.
it is great that we're going into 3s with this Datacron set, because do you really worry about week 1 in 3s with Datacrons?
Yes.
Sometimes, yes. Well, no, I know you worry about it, but like I would say most 3s.
We talked about this last time.
Yeah, but like most 3s, you'll go into it looking for a couple or a few Datacrons because you know those are going to be the OP ones. Whereas with set 16, yeah, there's some really good ones, but do you really care about re-rolling the level 9 to get Sabine, for instance?
I really want to get the boss one for defense for 3v3. I think that one's
Okay.
that one's gonna be really funny, where he's just putting out fear like 2 out of his 3 turns, like just for no reason.
With
And
that
then
tank
doesn't
revive.
doesn't the fear go away immediately too, though? 'Cause
Yeah, but he
he's
puts it out
calling
when
people-
he puts it out when he does a special. I mean,
when he does a taunt. Oh,
taunts
sweet.
or does his call those
Mass assist.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's
then if you have grief on the team for whatever reason, your cooldowns reset. So, but there's gonna be a lot of fun ones, like the Lord Vader one. Some people have been asking me, like, am I gonna go for the Lord Vader Boba Fett rocket again? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are gonna be placing it on defense, because once people learned about.
Oh no, it's not for the. Hold on, sorry. It doesn't work with the taunt because it says when he damages an enemy with a special.
Oh, and damages. Okay.
Yeah, so like every instance of fear will be dispelled unless he's alone, or everyone has days or something.
Either way,
So
it's
just hit it.
still a good cron for him.
The
Yeah.
fear is still good, bad because it'll reduce your cooldowns by 1 or increase your cooldowns by 1, right?
Yep.
Isn't that only Darth Revan that's part of his kit or something?
I
For
don't
fear?
think fear necessarily increases cooldowns from every.
Oh,
sword.
okay. That might just be Darth Revan then.
Yeah, but it you lose a turn, you lose your buffs.
So going back to Lord Vader, are you guys going to be setting the protection up on dots for Lord Vader this season for 3v3, or are you guys worried it's just going to get killed by a Boba rocket?
There's
Well, it
no
depends
one
on
I'm
what-
gonna be, there's no one I'm going to be fighting that's not going to be capable of doing the Boba rocket thing, unless I get Nerodium.
I think the only way you counter it is you
Uh,
have to place Thrawn and you have to place Maul with him. You have to have both of them, and like it won't work.
No, I think you just put the level 6 for attacker, where he attacks again whenever he crits. I don't think they'll last long enough to get to the Boba rocket.
Fair.
Maybe.
Because he's critting on everything versus bounty hunters.
Yeah, and the team for Boba Rocket, it's usually boss lead anyways. It's like boss creep Boba, I think, and you just kind of like out attrition him.
Sorry for another interjection. I was wrong about fear, and you're right. I think it's just integral to fear itself, but it's
Does a 1
in
cooldown
Darth
increase?
Revan's kit that says increase by, like it's the debuff description is in Darth Revan's kit, but it's not part of his kit that causes the increase.
Okay.
So you're right, Ken.
Oh, well, thank you for validating one way or another.
Good check.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So yes, now actually, as we're talking about Lord Vader, I probably will put Lord Vader if I get the attacker level 6. And who else would I put with him? Probably Maul.
Yeah,
and
I'd like
Thrawn,
You're
but-
level 9
Meet
for
up
that.
with them probably on the 3.
Yes, I agree with the 3, but yeah, what level 9? Oh man, you know what I have to say? I'm very curious, and this sort of ties into what we were talking about. I'm going to talk about next theoretically. Is a Jedi Consular. His level 9 is bananas. Holy,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically an entire character in itself.
yeah, yes, it's insane.
It's a free marquee character inside the level 9.
Yeah, and some people certainly are taking him to 7 or 8, or I've seen a couple of people with 9 for Naboo.
For the Jedi Starfighter, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
Yeah, ships.
Yeah.
You don't have to choose. There's no shame. You actually have multiple areas of synergy to do it now. You can do it and be like, I don't even feel like a jackass.
No, because he's
I
in
know.
the raid too.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's no way to go wrong with that at this point.
Yeah, he's a great leader in the raid. A great
he
leadership.
is. Yeah. Well, this
He
is
has no
very
leadership, but you want him there.
yeah. It's very interesting. What do you guys think about the raid? We can go back to Datacrons if we like, but talking about now Jedi Consular. seeing as he is in the raid. Like, what is your first impressions of the raid in general?
I've only done it once. I think, Ken, we've only done it once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so visually, I think it's cool. I like that they're trying something different. I don't know if this counts as our quote unquote ship raid that we've been asking for for
Whatever.
8 years, you know.
I can't feed granted abilities.
Hey, it's a ship raid. I like that people are coming up with these undersized squads because it definitely, because I was all doom and gloom at first because I was like, okay, 30 characters, 25 of them are going to be used. We need R9s for all of them. This raid's out for 8 months. It takes about, your average player does about 1 R9 a month. That means we're going to have less than 2 teams by the time they're done. On top of the new GL and everything else you're going to farm. But I like that they're coming up with undersized squads. I like that it's possible to get full points without Jar Jar with a Gungan squad. I think that's a huge plus for a lot of players. I would say my only biggest complaint, and this is I'm an end game player like all you guys, so this doesn't really apply to me, but I know a lot of people do not like the characters that are required for this raid because the last raid it was like they were all requirements for something like GLA something.
I have a lot of thoughts along those lines too. So I agree with you.
There's a lot of characters like Cam, for example. There's a lot of people that don't even have Cam still because, well, Geo's old and you're either doing the new TB or you're not. So it's like, I don't know. This I don't think this raid was meant for everybody in the game, unfortunately. Like, I don't think it was they were thinking of lower accounts or mid game players when they were designing it.
Yeah. Just from a difficulty level, like I played a few teams at R7. I had the materials. Eventually, I took them to R8 for my final runs. But the difficulty between levels between R7 and R8 was very significantly easier at R8. Like,
yeah.
Which to me, this is the least new player friendly, putting aside the characters required, just in dynamics. It's like R7, you're struggling. Like, my God, this raid is so stupid. This is the hardest raid I've done since the Pit Challenge raid or something. And then I spend the materials and put my characters in R8. I'm like, oh, I can just hit auto and target every now and then. And exact same mods, same everything, and it's super easy. I get my max score.
I was thinking about that exact interaction. It's like the higher level you go, the easier it is. Like, and there's a lot of, especially for like I think separatists, they get a big break. Like the B2 lead was better at R8. That's a big thing. But yeah, it's both the character restrictions and the way it's easier at a higher level. For my main account, I actually like it. It's fun. It's like, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Gungans, a few others like in your set. But it very much just completely freezes out so many guilds. I know this because I'm in like a 250 million GP guild with my small account. It's like 1.8 million. I never took a care to like develop something directly for Endor Raid, but I had plenty of stuff because it's early game friendly Imperial Troopers and Phoenix, and they're in there, so it's super easy. And I was very critical of the statistical rework, and I think it is weird, but it has forever given the game a super easy raid for smaller guilds to do, and I think that should be the dominant go-to for a lot of small guilds. Because we got like third crate, halfway to fourth crate on Endor. We tried Naboo, and we literally got no rewards. I did not get a single reward. I did not get an individual track reward. I did not get a guild reward. We got a big fat goose egg. And it's such an irritating message in your inbox. It said, sorry, unfortunately, your guild did not earn enough points to get rewards, so you just get nothing. Like, I wish, like, I know now, knowing that, I think it's an easy choice. Don't try it. And like a lot of cynical people would comment when I was, complaining about it in videos, and would comment on Reddit. Now everyone knows that. Don't try Naboo if you're not like a certain size. Even if you are, like, you're getting a huge decrease in rewards. But I wish they'd do a make good for just that first week, because it was really an ambush. Like, people aren't expecting like, oh, I can't do anything. Because I had like Gear 12 Galactic Republic Jedi, and I killed like 2 B1s, so I got 6,000. And then in Endor, you go in with a couple people that do the evasion thing, just hit the evasion button and you get 6,000 or something like that. So Endor was kind of a fluke though, in that it's so easy. You can like get close to a max tier 1 score with Gear 6 characters. But in the new raid, they need to tune that thing down so hard, level 0. They're all Gear 13. Everything's Gear 13. Like the droids are like impossible to kill. And then you're just the only increased difficult, like the lower levels are difficulty because you just get less points for everything. And it's like still the same task you have to accomplish. You have to get through so many waves. So yeah, it is very much like a huge divide. It's designed only with endgame players in mind, which Endor was too, but in like they forgot about how easy it'd be for newer players. So yeah,
It
I don't
definitely
know.
feels like
It's not good in that regard.
It definitely feels like they're pumping the brakes in terms of R9
Rewards.
R9 R8 R9 mats for everybody.
But the thing is too, for endgame players, it is okay. Maybe for end game players, it's too easy. Like I will have eventually,
Yeah.
I can get the max possible score
Oh yeah.
for my rewards,
Yeah.
and for much higher than my guild needs on average for us to get a max score. With 4 teams, 3 of them on auto or directed auto. Like that is
well,
just
it's like easier and impossible, right? Because like either a team completely trounces it, like the Luminar lead because of the true damage. You got to kill like the whole wave at once, or you're gonna be stuck. If you're trying to single target, they heal. Like they heal. So if you try it with a team that's not well suited, it's so frustrating because just heal. Like you get someone almost dead. Oh, they're all the way healed, all the way back up. So it's just if you didn't kill them the whole wave in like one shot.
Yeah, it's a weird design space. Like they're aiming for this slice of 10 or 20% of the player base and nobody else. And no real incentive to do really, really well because I didn't follow it so closely in the initial discussions, but there was supposed to be like for players who really achieved well, the next level box would give you some additional rewards. But that doesn't exist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of like they have conquest structure where it's like if you complete normal mode, the first box of hard mode will have equivalent and better rewards to incentivize you to progress.
But this is not here, and like there's no extra rewards for getting the last reward box. It seems like they missed out another level of rewards. Like the top is 12.15 or something, and they're missing out on a 13.5 or something.
Didn't they say
like that.
there was going to be an R9 box? And then like they edited the post and removed
They
that.
said something about a new box.
Like they said, like, oh, we're gonna add another box that's gonna pretty much require all R9s,
yeah.
for endgame.
That's what I recall, something to that extent.
A new box,
also.
But then they went back and edited the post and they took out that statement.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't see it after it had been edited, but yeah, that's what I was recalling as well. Some sort of incentive to do really well. And what do you guys? No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the one thing that I almost want to tell players is like, if your guild's not gonna go for the Naboo raid, don't go for Gungans. Like if you're a newer player, because I know Gungans are really good right now, and I know it's like endgame players.
Expensive, right?
It's just I'm really putting, I don't know why, I'm really getting Tusken vibes from Gungans. Like it's not that Tuskens are bad or anything. It's
not
just
that bad, but
it's just once they're not as relevant, they're really just not going to be as relevant, I guess is what I want to say. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like they only have one faction tag, right? They only have one faction tag. They are a gimmick team. They do one thing. They do one thing only. So once people figure out counters for them, they're kind of just dead in the water at that point. They're not saying they're a bad team. It's just if you're going to spend the next 8 months going for Gungans and you're going to be getting them right when this raid is going to be shipped off, I don't know if that's worth it.
Under those conditions, fair. But like, think about how long. Think about how long after Inquisitors, the full Inquisitors team was available, that you had galactic challenges focused on Inquisitors.
But
that's the only thing that jumps out at me is thinking about all the galactic challenge money you might be missing out on, because they've been mashing that Gungans button for a while.
Sure, but
they're never gonna get that anyway.
You can still get the T8 box for GCs and get your 2 Omis without using Gungans. And the one thing with Inquisitors though is Inquisitors. They have 3 faction tags, so they're going to be more relevant with Datacrons. They have Empire, you got UFU, and you have Inquisitors, which I feel like they're always going to have something because it feels like one of those 3 is always in rotation. It feels like.
I think they have. I don't think there's been any break from them having a level 6.
Something,
ever.
Yeah, they're like Inquisitors are always super relevant. Tuskens, it's like Tuskens are really good when they get their Datacron. When they don't, if Bulk's around, they're also really good. But outside of that, they're kind of just like they're very specific team. 3v3, yeah, they do have the Omis and 3s, so I mean you do have that.
I think Gungans are a bit better than Tuskens. I would put them somewhere in between.
They are.
Yeah,
Tuskens
they're way better.
They are
sort of like gas.
In a world where you've had like Finn Zori as like a staple defense team for years, even before people were doing it for offensive counters on Rey and stuff like that. This is easily a like as far as prevalence on your defense. If you have Gungans and you have the Omis on Jar Jar. Yeah, that team will always be used. You'll find some use for it on offense if there's a meta purpose, but just like Finn Zori for however long now, right? Like you're not going to not use Finn Zori, whether or not there's some type of resistance thing in meta. So I feel like if you have Gungans with that condition, right? Like to what you're saying, like if they don't have it fully invested or whatever, probably pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think it's like that's the problem with the power creep in this game. They're not changing the board size, so something else is shunted off. You're not going to be seeing something else that you've been otherwise running on defense reliably, for example.
Speaking of things getting shunted off, I wanted to ask you guys: do you guys think Luthen is coming? Do you think Luthen is going to be forgotten about when he comes out? Like just based on he's going to be coming out with all these other things. Like we have a new epic confrontation, we have a new GL, we have the new raid everyone's working on, and the new players, whatever current GL they're also trying to farm. It's like, do you guys think Luthen's going to just get thrown under the rug a little bit?
To me,
no.
The power level of Luthen feels like how I felt when I looked at Scion of Django's kit. Like very cool things in there, and I'm sure he'll work against some counters. But I have a hard time seeing exactly to the point that Tass just made, like, what team is he going to push off the board?
Well, he's going to, how Saw, I say this all the time on my stream, Saw always feels like he's almost always meta. Like, he's almost always worth putting on defense if you've got the Omicron and you've got a, decent Rebel fighter team set up. But with Luthen on there, I think we'll be having a pretty strong case for a use for Saw on defense and perhaps some enhanced functionality for Mon Mothma on offense. Have to play and see. But like, do I see it maybe getting less press than all the other things you mentioned, Van Seal? Absolutely. Do I think for the observant GAC player, I think that they're going to let it pass by? I don't think so. Especially if you already have investment in those Rebel fighter teams.
There is an insane amount of stuff that we're going to have to do, though. Like what they've said about all these marquee releases and then going ahead and advancing an epic confrontation and the Galactic Legends. Like, we're going to need a bunch of marquees for all these. It's like, geez. And we already got a bunch this year. I mean, Gungans and Galactic Republic Jedi and stuff. So it is a lot.
What are we gonna?
So
what are we gonna? Sorry.
What are we gonna what?
What are we gonna? What are we gonna do with these characters? Like this to me is the really sad part. I have to say,
spin them.
Yep, there you go.
Spin them, yeah. Feel pride and accomplishment. I really like the Datacron set here because to me it's a very, very, very fresh and different way to play GAC.
I gotta catch a wasp here. Give me a minute.
Get it.
Good luck.
Get it.
But besides the Datacron set, like there's no indication that they're going to change GAC or add some new competitive mode. No changes to TW coming. Like
that was the biggest thing from the road ahead that I didn't see because the road ahead. I thought the road ahead was very, very safe.
Weak.
It was very safe.
Yeah.
It was just like we're going to announce a bunch of characters. I think the biggest thing that they announced is when they addressed the PC client. I was like, okay, that's actually like, maintenance and operation stuff. That's actual new stuff. Like that's interesting. I don't care about how many characters you can announce because you're always going to be releasing new characters. Like I would like to play this game differently, personally. I've been saying this on this podcast, almost every episode, where it's like they need to do something about GAC and TW because we just have too many tools, and it's like half of these tools are brand new, right? We have to get these characters, but you don't even use them.
What they did to, help fix that? They didn't announce a GL capital ship.
Not yet.
Oh man, so nice of them.
Last year, they started talking about it in April.
No, I still think we'll get one.
It's not happening.
I still think we'll get one. I think it's gonna be.
We're not getting one this year.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
No, we're not getting one. They're not going to cram that in with a galactic legend and their epic confrontation.
Yes,
We already
they
know.
are.
I don't
Maybe
know. They're
next
pretty
year.
infamous for a big cash grab just before Christmas.
Right, but they already have that set up.
Who's that going to be? Because this thing's coming out. I thought this is coming out in the fall. Like this is before the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
GLA I think is coming out.
But ships have always come out like July or August, and now they already for say Q3 we got either Baylan Skull or Ahsoka. They're talking about Ahsoka's requirements now. I don't know if Baylan Skull is going to leapfrog her for who comes out first, but they got one for Q3, one for Q4. I don't. There's no GL ship. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there's definitely something they're cramming in because it's usually just like what was it? It was Starkiller a couple years ago, and what was it last year? There's There's your 3 characters you have to get your
Afra bow.
Yeah. There's always they're always setting you up where it's like, hey, you gotta shell out and get this thing that's coming out right here around the holidays.
It would be nice if they added a character to
be
TV. Because I like how they've been adding planets and new ways to get extra resources, I guess, because extra resources. But those are all for end game players. It's like new players are
it's like people.
Why do I care about? Yeah, I know it's sad.
Exactly.
It's really sad. The task. I know.
I need everything.
But
don't speak for me.
But I'm always
Gosh, Taz, how do you not have everything at R8 right now?
I'm always
everything at R8 is pretty much done. If I need it to be at R8, once it's been there. The question
R9.
is how many R9s. I think I'm actually just about to cross the Rubicon. 100 R9s.
Congrats!
Beavis.
Oh my god!
Congrats!
Yeah.
You have double. You have double what I have. No, and that's the thing. I always go back to the old TV map when they announced, Res the Empire, whatever it's called. I'm like, where are these new characters? They had little slots for extra characters, and it would just be nice to do that for TV. Just something, and then obviously, can they just drop R10 now, please? At this point,
Something.
Give something for endgame players to chase after, because it's just and I guess that's probably not a good thing to say, but R10, please. I would really like R10.
Yeah, I would like to chase after something that affects all or most of my characters rather than chase after a character.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. As soon as it comes, the first handful, the first 3 to 5 are going to be roped, necessary, like Leviathan and so on.
Right.
Sure, yeah, and of course your GLs, going from top down, but the first handful are going to be rote, and then in the case of something like Darth Revan for Leviathan, you are at a severe disadvantage, lacking certain relic tests, a prohibitive disadvantage.
Yeah, we'll see. I just hope something still comes this year, not just new characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Any last things to add, Vencil? We'll start with you and go back to Sunjita.
Not much. Just like it said, I think the one thing I'm excited for is this new Datacron set. It's new, it's fresh. I'm even thinking about what's going to be the set after it to pair with it. You know what I mean? Are we going to get another crazy set, something different? Or are we just going to go back to the traditional factions? But looking forward to
the next set will be the colors of the character as the faction. Green character, blue character, red character.
Yeah.
Only level 3 and stats, no other actives.
Yeah, they're gonna go based on whatever their weapon is, right? Lightsaber users and blaster users use this. Yeah. But no, it just shows that they're always trying to. At least it reminds me that they're trying to come up with new ways for us to enjoy the game. It would be nice if we got a set like this, every other set. I think that would be kind of cool.
I like the idea of at least every other, right? I like the idea of having a more standard set
Yeah.
in between, alternating, and then it feels like you can kind of fill in the gaps for not getting exactly what you wanted in a set that's like set 16. I like the feel
Because
of
the
where you're
past
going.
couple sets have been just like getting stronger, and we're like, there's no way to get better, right? And they're getting stronger and stronger, and now it's just like, all right, it's a little crazy. But yeah, just looking forward to the new Datacron set. Looking forward to a lot of gameplay from what people come up with.
Cool. Same. Tass?
Yeah, I know I didn't really say anything when you guys were talking about the raid. Have absolutely the utmost sympathy for all the guilds that are just boxed out, not able to get rewards, getting less than what they used to. It is more time consuming. Definitely, you actually have to put some significant more time in it than you did for the speeder bike raid. Even though at the higher relic levels, like you guys had mentioned, you can mostly kind of guide it, auto it. Um, all that said, all those conditions covered, it is stunning. It is gorgeous. Like, it is just visually, like, you listen to it, you hear the music, you hear the sound effects. It is a banger. They put love
It's
into
cool.
this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the tuning, all
I
those
agree.
other very legitimate complaints, absolutely are worth addressing. But this is a stunner. Like, there is no other raid that has, everything else is it's like comparing like PlayStation 2 to NES. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like the gap of effort, the gap of like wow. Like the first time I hit that transition button going from the ground up into space, and the ships all phase in and they're all holding steady and hovering there, and you got the stars streaking at you, and I used one of the abilities and I'm diving on the droid control ship. Like, I'm like tripping out looking at this thing. So it definitely has its downsides, but like artistic direction wise, whoo! And should the day ever come that they do make the Death Star raid, man, like, do I have so much more faith in the degree of execution that they'll put on it? Because if you had to tell me, it's like, oh yeah, I hear the Death Star raid's coming next on the heels of something like
Peter.
Z-Pit, something like Speeder Bike with the skipping. They only towards the end of Speeder Bike raid did they actually fix that skipping issue that would make everybody motion sick.
Yeah.
Like, it was such hot garbage. So if you had to tell me that they were going to go do Death Star after that, nah, it's just going to be terrible. But after this, hopeful. Big hope.
What if they told you they were going to do this one then after the last one? Would you have it?
Oh yeah, no. I didn't have very high hopes. Anybody who asked me said it's like you've already done, like, remember when you're unlocking Gungans and you're going through the marquee character events and you're just doing those waves of B1s
Or
that
Conquest,
you're killing,
yeah, where you just kill the B1s and then shoot the box.
Yeah, where it's just some lame thing set out on a field on Naboo, and it just I was expecting something really super dumb. I was expecting something really super dumb, phoned in, and low effort, and this is just spellbinding. Like, it is just gorgeous all the way around. So that's it. That's my note.
Cool. Sanjita?
My closing
thoughts?
thought is a question for Tassanex. Are you or are you not going to use Cup?
He's ready. He's ready. He's been in blue gear for me up until this week. Blue gear, like gear 4, like 3, 2, 3, 4, something, wherever it starts to turn blue. That's where he's been for years. And now he's Relic 7. I'll try to have him Relic 8 before the start of the week. But only the dead will know peace from the level 9 Cup Datacron.
Well, who are you running him with?
Don't know yet. I think that the strength of the setup is, probably not in 3 versus 3 with Queen Amidala, but like probably worth trying in 5s, something like that. But it's like the strength of that 9 with the, you can either go with the buffs level 3 or the percent health damage level 3, and there's a whole bunch of ways to make that work. There's a whole bunch of ways. Like that level 9 is so widely applicable. I'm just looking forward to it. Just I guess you want him to be really fast. I guess that's some type of commitment you'll have to make to him mod wise. But I'm excited. I'm excited because it's more applicable than something more gimmicky. Like you remember the Night Sister Initiate thing. That really felt like a kind of a one trick gimmick. Whereas I intuitively feel like some real plug and play application with Cup going around on a variety of light side teams. So we'll see.
Nice.
Because it's not faction restricted, right? Like it's not like, oh well, you'd be a fool to run Cup on a light side team that's not Galactic Republic because he's Galactic Republic. It's not like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I also am curious to see what you do or other people do with Cup. Like one of the things that I'm most excited about with this set is actually for the first time in a long time, I'm very curious to go watch videos of or streams or something of different content creators because there's no way that I'm going to have the same Datacrons that everybody else does. So the only way I'm going to be able to see them is to watch other people, that's a new thing. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Sanjita stepped away for a moment. I don't know if the talk of Datacron or Cup scared him off or he had to blow his nose or something.
He
had
was
to
also
blow my
chasing
nose.
a wasp.
Yeah, the same wasp.
The same
that Task
wasp,
found
yeah.
him.
He got away from me, so it actually might be. It might be.
You guys live in the
Sorry, I
same
had a
state or something?
particularly violent sneeze I had to attend to.
Gotcha. Well, on that note, we've sneezed our way out of the show for this month. So thank you guys as always. Was a pleasure and looking forward to chatting next month.
All right, take care.
It's pretty good.
All right,
See ya.
thanks. See you guys.
Cheers.